All right. Here we go, back again on the other side of the coin. All right, welcome back to the other side of the coin, ladies and gentlemen. The international break is well and truly upon us, and it is very, very boring. So, as I always do, especially during the international break, I try and bring some guests along, try and get some conversations going on, try and get some discussions going on. So, I've got the one and only Drog Baba in the house, one of the members of All You Can Eat Chelsea. Drog Baba, my man. Namaste, brother. How are you doing?
Namaste. I'm all good, bro. All good. Feeling quite well after we've won 3 games in a row. That's not something that we say quite often since the new ownership has come in. So yeah, feeling good. I do think that the break came at the wrong time for us because we were building some. We were building some momentum, but I have this mixed feeling. I'm not really happy, not really sad with what has gone on with the season. But yeah, we'll obviously discuss about that. And all good, bro. India has won 2 games in a row in the Cricket World Cup as well. So yeah, all is good right now.
I was hoping you're going to say that, ladies and gentlemen. In the back room, we've actually been talking for about 20 minutes in the back room before we actually went live, and we were talking about cricket. So we will have that conversation for another day. Drog Baba has said that we will do some sort of a podcast, maybe a live. Definitely, it's going to happen, and it's going to be a cracking show. Believe me, it will be a cracking show. So do look out for that. Baba, let's, as you said, I think this is going to be interesting because you're a little bit 50-50. Me, I'm jubilant. I'm very happy because I haven't seen Chelsea win for so long. Like, I'm just happy with any little bits of, little coins that were thrown at me. I'm a beggar. I'm anything thrown at me.
All of us are, bro. All of us.
I'm getting excited. I'm getting excited. So it'll be interesting conversation because you're sort of 50-50. I'm just in la la land. But 8 matches so far in the Premier League. I think we are 11th. Obviously, 2 wins back-to-back in the Premier League, plus another one in the Carabao Cup, which makes it 3 in a row. We move on to the next round of the Carabao Cup, which is a nice fixture for us against Blackburn. So fingers crossed, we'll go through against them. No disrespect to them. We'll go through against them and we'll go into the quarterfinals. And so far, some of the conversations that's coming from Pochettino in recent times that he's apparently going to be given more power. He's going to have more say in the transfer market. A lot of the players coming out and have some positive things to say, like Cole Palmer. Recently, I really, really appreciated what Cole Palmer said. He said, look, I get what the fans are saying. We have to win. We need to win. This is Chelsea Football Club. But at the same time, obviously, we're a young team and there are going to be ups and downs. So what I want to ask you, Baba, so far, from the 8 matches that you've seen, plus the matches from Carabao Cup, and we'll get into finer details later on. But overall, how's your feeling? What do you genuinely feel? What have you seen? Are you optimistic? Are you still a bit cautious? What's going on?
It's a mixture of caution and optimism, to be honest, because we have seen that we have played well this season. We have seen that we have been absolutely atrocious at times this season. In the same match against Burnley, we were absolutely dog shit in the first half, and we turned it around in the second half. So if it was only about the second half performance, I couldn't be more happier. I would say bring on Arsenal. But if we replicate that first half against Burnley, same if we do against Arsenal, they're going to rip us to shreds. No doubt about it. We can't do that against some of the big teams like Man City, Arsenal, Newcastle even. So yeah, there's a lot of caution. But to look at the bright side, some of the performances have been really nice. Cole Palmer has been a revelation for me because I didn't think that he will fit in so quickly in our team and he will have such an impact at an early stage. And he was given the penalty against Burnley. This shows the confidence the lad has.
That's a big statement. That's a big statement for Pochettino.
And maybe the lack of confidence that other lads have right now. They don't feel confident in front of.
It's scary.
On the spot, they put a 20-year-old guy. So would like to see a bit of more that from Nicholas Jackson. I would have liked if Nicholas Jackson, who was on the field at that point, demanded the ball. Please give me the ball. I need some confidence. I would have loved for him to take that penalty, but in the end, Chelsea score. That is the most important thing.
Yeah.
So yeah, that has been good. Gallagher has been absolutely brilliant in the last 2 to 3 games. Gala dog, as I like to call
What's your overall feeling towards Gallagher? Because obviously the fan base is a bit split. There are a lot of people that are saying, look, this guy is made for Chelsea. He's Chelsea through and through. He shows the passion, the grit. He works hard, the English style. Pochettino clearly likes him a lot. I mean, to the fact that he's the captain of the football club now. And then there's the other side of the coin, and maybe you can put me on the other side as well, where I don't disregard Gallagher. I like him, but I feel like in the long run, I need a bit more quality than just that. You know what I mean? And when I say that, I'm saying it loosely. I do rate him, but in the long run, I need better. Like, where do you stand in the Gallagher conversation?
I personally feel like I still feel that he does not feature into our best 11. Honestly, if Nkunku and everyone's fit,
give Baba hate now. Give him hate, as opposed to me, give him hate.
I apologize if you are hearing a banging noise. Some construction work is going on.
That's right. Yeah,
so
it's very loud.
If I were to talk about Gallagher, see, he is completely changing our mind towards him. He's changing our perception towards him, and I hope that continues to happen. That begs the question that what happens when Lavia is fit? What happens when Nkunku comes into the team? Because we were playing with a 4-2-3-1 with both Jackson and Nkunku playing together. Mudryk on the left, Sterling on the right. But now Cole Palmer is playing on the right, and Mudryk was good on the left, but Mudryk got injured, and Sterling came onto the left, and he played brilliantly. Was involved in all 4 goals the other day. So what do you do with all this situation, and where does Gallagher fit in all of this? So for me, as my understanding of the game is, I think Gallagher is a very important part of this team right now. Watch Pochettino is trying to play, because Gallagher works really hard for the team. He works really hard for the team. Our frustration with Gallagher last season was, and let's be honest, it was not just Gallagher. The whole team was crap last season. But our frustration with Gallagher was, at least you play well, bro, because you have been given this chance. You came back from a loan. You are a Chelsea through and through. Why aren't you playing well? Our frustration with Gallagher was that. Other people we could understand. Mason Mount with this contract situation. Kai Havertz was 90% of the
was
time,
just Kai Havertz.
Kai Havertz was just Kai Havertz, and he's till now he's Kai Havertz.
He's still Kai Havertz.
Koulibaly had a very bad season, I must say. Cucurella did not have a greatest of starts to his season. Sterling was hot and cold. So other players you could understand, either they were new, or they were settling in, or they were simply crap. Gallagher, you would say, at least do what you're good at. We don't expect you to be world class, but at least do what you're good at. Show that doggedness, show that tenacity, that intensity.
Basically, what you're saying is you don't have a baggage. You don't have any baggage. You just come in clean slate for you.
Yes, definitely. So that was our frustration with Gallagher. We never regarded him as world class or do some of the stuff that Mount did in that Champions League run. We did not expect that, any of that from Gallagher. But he was not doing that also. Bare minimum also he was not producing. So right now, when we look at Gallagher, and especially when Caicedo has come in and he is now also looks settled, we don't talk enough about Caicedo right now. Because he's not doing, because rival fans are not getting anything to point.
He's not making mistakes. He's
not making mistakes. So right now, that 115 million pound signing, the most expensive midfield in the Premier League, all of that is nowhere to be heard right now. Has disappeared, and all of that talk has now started. What is Gallagher's role in the team? And that has been because of how Caicedo is being used. By Pochettino as a single pivot at times, when Gallagher is given that free roaming role, that you roam free and you do that Kante kind of a thing for us. You disrupt play, you win the ball back, you drive the ball forward, and just keep the game going. And you bring that intensity and that urgency into the midfield. And I think that has been a critical part of our last 3 performances.
Yeah,
The
I agree.
Gallagher. If you look at the decision making of Gallagher in the last three games, that has also been good. He does not keep hold of the ball for a very long time.
Simple
His pass,
passes, simple
sim-
passes, very simple
simple
passes.
passes. His passes are weighted perfectly. If you
Yeah,
look at that Sterling pass, the
yeah, it's
Caicedo won
brilliant
the ball.
assist. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah, earlier either it used to be underhit or overhit. The
yeah,
player was not able to reach the pass, or it was underhit, got intercepted. So this has also disappeared. So I always think that these things are coachable, and all of these things come with confidence. And Gallagher
yeah,
right now is playing with confidence, and I hope it continues for the rest of the season. And it's a good selection headache to have. That
yeah,
if all of the team are fit, whom are you going to play in what position? Because I personally think if we are not able to get a striker in January, we have an Nkunku who can play as a striker also.
yeah.
If Broja and Jackson are
100%.
not up to it, and you don't fiddle with Palmer and Sterling. Let them play in whatever positions they are being played at. You use Nkunku and you use a midfield three of Gallagher, Enzo, and Caicedo if it continues to work for you. Uh,
Mm.
the reality of it, we'll get to know when we play against Arsenal. Because let's face it,
Mm.
after Liverpool, we haven't played a proper top six opponent,
Yeah.
and Arsenal game will be a litmus test for this midfield and for Gallagher and for rest of the players as well.
No, 100% agreed, man. Look, I agree what you've said. I think Gallagher, his stocks has definitely risen over the last few matches.
The unfortunate thing about Gallagher is that he does not have a Champions League final assist. If he had a
Yeah,
Champions League final assist from an open play, then I don't think so he would have been criticized as much as some of the other players who wear a number 7 at Manchester United nowadays.
hundred
So yeah.
percent, 100%. And there's a lot of Manchester United fans that are actually wondering what Mason Mount actually brings for their team. But that's for a different day and different story. But yeah, I agree with you, man. I think at the moment Gallagher seems undroppable from the side, but the conversations will be a bit different once, as you said, Romeo Lavia is fit, and once, later on when Nkunku's fit, and we've even forgotten Chukwuemeka. Chukwuemeka is now fit as well. So
Oh,
how do you fit all of these players in?
yeah,
This will be
and
an interesting.
yeah, and what's our best front line? Like Mudryk also scored when he played last,
And Sterling
and
just provided 4 goal contributions.
and Mudryk looked really good for those last 10 minutes when Sterling came off.
100%. And don't forget the performances Mudryk had prior to
Previously, prior
previous.
to Fulham game.
So things are good. Things are good. Things are good.
Hmm.
Okay, now, Baba, let's move on to the next phase of this review. So we've had an initial sort of feel about the whole situation. Let's talk about, let's break it down bit by bit, and then we'll go all the way to the owners and the board and whatnot. Let's talk about the front players, the attacking players. We'll start off with Armando Broja and Nicholas Jackson. There's a lot of conversation always, Baba. I'm pretty sure you're aware. Victor Osimhen and Ivan Toney, this, that, the other. My stance is, let me watch these two until January, and then I'll make a decision, because you never know. These two could explode. These two could potentially make us all believe that we don't need anyone else. Or by the time January comes around, we may come to a conclusion that, you know what, I think we need someone else, because these two are just, they're not banging in enough goals. What's your feeling towards Nicholas Jackson, Armando Broja? Personally, I feel the competition is very good now. It's very solid. I think both of them will be on their toes and not be complacent. If one is complacent, the other one will take their position. How do you feel about these two players? Are you convinced? Are you not convinced? Are you looking one eye towards January? Where are you sitting?
When you have someone like a Victor Osimhen at corner of your eye, you will always look there, no matter who is playing for you right now.
Right.
But to be fair to both of them, I think Jackson should have done better. Let's be honest. Like the
Yeah.
chances that he got and the way he was performing in the preseason, we had high hopes of him. And I don't think so we would having this conversation even if we need a striker or not, if Jackson would have put some of those chances away, like some
Yeah.
of those chances against Liverpool, Bournemouth header, Nottingham
Nottingham
Forest,
Yeah.
and in between also he's got some really good chances to put away. But I'm gonna cut him some slack, because again he looks like he cares about the team. He is still settling in. The goal the other day against Burnley, looked
It's a
like
nice
got his
goal.
confidence back. Yeah, it's a
Yeah.
nice goal. For once, he did not rush it. He took his time, controlled the ball, body feinted, and then finished it with his left foot. So
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
uh, that was something really good to see. But I want to see that every game week. I want to see consistency
Yeah.
is the key.
Yeah.
These are good players, but can they lead the line for us? Because see, we are not in the top four business. We don't want a striker who scores 15 goals for us and get us that top four. We need a striker that scores 20 to 25 goals for us, and that is a minimum ask. Because when your opponent's got someone like a Mohamed Salah, who is scoring or assisting for fun in every game,
Yeah.
you got Erling Haaland, who broke all kinds of records last season, and some of the other teams also have got a good goals scoring.
Even Ollie Watkins.
Ollie
For Aston Villa.
Ollie Watkins is on fire. Newcastle United share the goal scoring burden.
Yeah.
But they also score a lot of goals. Manchester United had Rashford last season, but I'm not going to put them.
That Højlund guy, I think he's a serious player.
Yeah, Højlund is a good player. So you have to bring yourself up to that level so you could be compared with these players, and you have to show us that the two of you can score 25 Premier League goals for us. Combined.
Okay.
Yeah. What Drogba and Kalu did. Drogba used to score 18-19 goals and Kalu used to score 6-7 goals.
6-7 goals.
Yeah. So we need some that kind of a partnership, and that way both of them would be happy and the role would be clear that okay, I am the main guy, he's my second fiddle, but I will not get complacent, because if I am not up to it, there's a guy sitting on the bench who's going to take my place, and that's a very good situation to have always.
Yes.
This does not get the complacency into the players. I like the players. Broja, obviously, because he's an academy product, I have that affinity towards him. I don't really know that if he will be up to it after that ACL injury. Only time will tell. He had a good game against Fulham, but looked really ineffective against Burnley.
He was non-existent. He was non-existent against Burnley.
I don't
blame
think so.
Baba. It's too early from his injury.
Yeah. But that is what it is, Miss. We are in such a situation that we cannot afford to lose time. We cannot lose time on experiments. That if we were to experiment with Broja and we give him 10, 12 games and let's see what happens from that. After 10 to 12 games, there might be a situation that there is nothing to salvage in the season. When Nkunku returns, there might be nothing to salvage in this season. So are we willing to take that risk? So that's the question, because we have put ourselves in a pickle after dropping points against Nottingham Forest, Aston Villa, Bournemouth. These were the games that we were supposed to win, and we were not entirely crap in those games.
Yeah.
So that's the issue. So yeah, I'm perfectly okay with see what happens till January, and if they are not scoring goals in consistently, get a proper striker, because now we can't keep on doing this again and again. And the thing is, if you have a chance to sign someone like a Victor Osimhen, you cannot let that chance pass, especially if you are not certain of getting Champions League football, because you have done an absolute madness. You are able to assemble this group of very talented players, world-class players, without Champions League football. I think the only missing piece is the striker. I hope Jackson and Broja are up to it, and we don't go out and spend another 150 million on Victor Osimhen or a 90 million on Ivan Toney. The ideal situation is that we find solutions what is right now here with us. But if worst case scenario is there and the strikers are not up to it, you get Osimhen in an heartbeat, no questions asked.
Yeah, no, I agree with you. I mean, I think up until January, that's ample enough time for both Jackson and Broja to show what you can bring for Chelsea Football Club. I do agree with you that, Armando Broja, we can't be harsh on him, but at the same time, we don't have time for experiments. So my ideal situation would be Nicholas Jackson generally starts for the time being, but Armando Broja definitely gets opportunity off the bench to come in and show what he can bring. And if he does better, then eventually he should get an opportunity to start as well. So, and I think that healthy competition will be very, very good for the strikers. But I agree with you, man. If by January, none of these boys are clicking and we are falling behind, and we are falling behind because we're not scoring enough goals, we will have to see if there is an opportunity to get someone like Osimhen or Ivan Toney. Absolutely agreed. Okay, let's talk about our wingers, Sterling Mudryk, Madueke. I don't know if you want to put Cole Palmer in a winger sort of position. I tend to think he's more of a 10. There is a lot of people that tend to think he's a right-sided winger. For me, okay, fine. Let's put Cole Palmer as a winger. I mean, that's what he's sort of wants to play, maybe on the right side or maybe on the left side. And right now, Pochettino, the 3 games he started, 2 he started him on the right, and then 1 against Brighton where he was just behind Nicholas Jackson. So we'll put Cole Palmer along with them. Who has impressed you? Who has not impressed you? Who do you think could be in trouble if this form continues?
To be honest, we've not seen anything of Madueke so far. So,
and we've heard from Pochettino how he excluded him because of the party shenanigans.
But right now, I think everything is fine. He was introduced as a late substitute, and he was in the matchday squad also. So, in the team photo also, they were looking really good. So, I don't think so. There's that problem right now. So this is the thing, that in the initial games there were 4 or 5 players who were struggling at some point of time. But in the last 3-4 games, it is very hard for me to find out any sore thumb out there or any player which I think has not performed well, because even Cucurella was really nice in the last 3 games when he played out of position on the right back. Levi Colwill is solid. The only thing that I think we are bad at is one-on-one defending when the players get through our back line. I think it's been 2 or 3 goals that we've conceded from 1v1 situations. The Burnley goal was absolutely pathetic to concede, to be honest. We don't close down our man quickly enough. Thiago Silva, it seems, is losing some of his legs now. Like, age is finally catching up to him. And it's not his mistake at all. I think I love him. He's a brilliant player for Chelsea. I don't want to do any disservice to players who have played Chelsea before, who have played for Chelsea before. But if you were to have a conversation about Chelsea all-time 11, you will talk about Thiago Silva now. So that's the stature of Thiago Silva we are talking about. But I think the burden of playing every week is getting to him. I hope Badiashile gets fit and he gets some rest, so we can only use him for the big games, in the games where we need his experience, and we don't need to play him every week. So that is one thing that concerns me about the back line. Apart from that, Robert Sanchez looked really shaky in the first 3-4 games, but in the last 2-3 games he's been also very good. Apart from that one crazy moment that he has in every game where he passes the ball straight to the opposition player, and we've been lucky so far that we have not got punished. And this is the same thing I used to say about Mendy in his first season when he was brilliant, that he takes a lot of risk and he's not too good with his feet, he's not quick with his feet, and sooner or later we will get caught out. And when Benzema did that to him, he was not the same goalkeeper after that. I don't know what happened to him after that Benzema moment when Benzema stole the ball.
Absolutely scarred. He got scarred. Scarred for life.
He looked like a championship goalkeeper, to be fair, after that. I don't know what happened to him. So I hope that Sanchez does not do that. Apart from that, his shot stopping, his distribution, his command in the box during set pieces has been really nice. That is what I liked about him. Jackson again has been good, was good in the League Cup game, was good in the last game. As I told you, he disappointed me in the initial games. I expected more of him. Enzo, when he played as a 10, really not looked that effective. But when he is playing alongside Caicedo in the pivot, he's looked good. Gallagher, we've talked enough about. Sterling is an interesting case, man. Like, Sterling plays like he is a man possessed in one game.
Where do you stand with Sterling? Because
I think he's our best player.
Position. You know my position with Sterling.
I know your position, and I still think he's our best player, bro. Like, when he's up to it, there is no one even close to him with the ability that he has and the experience that he has. We need that experience because he
scoring
knows
goals, assisting goals. You're absolutely right. No one has that ability, that experience like him.
Yeah, because he's missed some spectacular chances for City also. So he gets that hate and he gets trolled all the time. But people tend to overlook the footballing ability that he has. he kind of frustrates me when he doesn't pass the ball, but he backs his ability. I completely understand that, and that is what led to 4 goals the other day also. So, see, I just want all these players to be consistent. I don't want them to play brilliantly against Burnley, then blank against Arsenal, blank against Blackburn, then show up against another Sheffield kind of, of opposition, then don't do anything against a Man City. Lay down your arms. So you are Man City. What we can do against you? Don't do that. I don't have a problem with losing games. It's the manner in which we lose games gives me a headache. Like if we fight, we score we create a lot of chances. We are unlucky in front of the goal that like keeper is having that one of those David De Gea type of performances, or we are hitting the frame of the goal and we are not able to score, and Arsenal somehow get a goal and we lose 1-0. That I completely understand. Like on some other day, we are scoring 3 goals against you, but this was not a day. If that happens, I completely understand. But if there is no intensity, you are getting dominated, and you know that players are there who don't play this kind of football. That is what annoys me, and that is what we saw against Aston Villa. We saw that against Nottingham Forest. Bournemouth, I think, despite we played bad, we created 4 clear-cut chances in that game. So
even
this
Aston
is
Villa, we should have won against us.
Yeah, even Aston Villa, we should have won. And like, this is the thing about this team. Even if they don't play well, they create so many chances. And you don't have to play well all the time to win all the games. Man City has not played well all the games in all the seasons that they've won the
I
title.
don't think Arsenal's played well at all this season.
Hmm.
And they're still picking up the wins. You know what I mean? Like,
so it's about picking up the wins. It's about you rising up to the occasion, and it is about you being switched on in the right moment when you get those chances and you bury those chances. And this is what separates decent teams from great teams. Like we are a decent team right now. We want to be a great team. We are a very good bunch of players. We have a very good young bunch of like midfielders who were being looked at by Liverpool, who were linked by Arsenal. All sorts of clubs wanted Caicedo, Lavia. We got all of them. So right now we have see, this is my point. The makings of a good team are there. I think it's just a matter of time before it all comes together. But having said that, we need to be absolutely sure that we don't throw results away. And top 5, it's still our main priority. So I don't have a particular player to point out who has disappointed me, because I've seen a lot from every player, and I can say a bad thing and a good thing about every player this season, apart from Madueke, who has not been featured so far. Ian Maatsen also has been
injury
really
or whatever the purpose. You know what I mean?
Even Ian Maatsen has been good in the minutes that he's been given. So there is that is where I'm with the team right now.
Nah, fair point, man. I completely understood. I think I'm probably in the same boat as well, where I don't think I can single out any particular player that's been you're absolutely been terrible so far this season, and your future at the club, I think, is in jeopardy. I don't think anyone has been in that position. As just like you said, every player, I think we can say some good things. I think we can say some bad things. You know, for example, Mudryk, at the initial matches, he wasn't looking good. You know, his first touch, his decision making. But over the past few games, you can clearly see Pochettino spending a lot of time with him, close time, investing some time, and that is becoming fruitful, which led to a goal against Fulham. I think same thing can be said in regards to, you know, let's say in our defense, Levi Colwill, as you said. You know, there are certain things, Levi Colwill, we've seen not that great, but then there's certain things we've seen very, very good. Couple of questions that I do want to ask you, though, before we move on to Pochettino. Number one, Levi Colwill. I mean, what's your stance on him? Do you see him as a left back? Do you see him as a CB? Pochettino has been using him as a left back, and a lot of theories that's been going around that saying that he's being used as a left back because, you know, we have a lot of injuries. You know, we don't have Nkunku, which doesn't allow us to play in a certain way. So Levi Colwill plays as a left back, but his Shield has been injured as well. So XYZ, Ben Chilwell has been injured, and he's not really been fancied as a left back. Ian Maatsen does not seem to be fancied as a left back one bit. Pochettino is using Ian Maatsen as a forward player. Where do you see Levi Colwill? Is he a left back or is he a CB?
I don't think so. It's down to injuries. It would seem in the last 2 to 3 games, and with Malo Gusto being suspended, that it is down to injuries and suspension that he's playing as a left back right now, and we've got no option. But it's a conscious decision, in my opinion, to play him as a left back.
Yeah.
I don't know what has happened in the preseason and right now. I could understand him playing as a left centre back in the first game against Liverpool in a back three, but eventually it looked like a back four with him shifting to the left back position. It would be interesting to watch what happens when Ben Chilwell is fit, because Ben Chilwell will definitely be in the team. He is Poch's favorite.
Vice captain of the team as well.
Vice captain of the team, and I just hope, man, that Mudryk and Sterling keep on killing it on the left hand side, whoever plays there, because I don't want to see any of there should be a restraining order against Chilwell if he crosses the half line.
Chilwell cannot be a left winger. He cannot be a left winger.
He cannot be a left winger. His strength is overlapping and crossing the ball inside the box, man. Cutting back.
His strength is in 1v1, like go 1v1 with a defender. You know what I mean?
Yes. Driving through, inverting. He inverts really well into the midfield when he's given that role. So all of that brings out the best out of Chilwell. But if you expect him to control a diagonal ball, run at the defenders, cut inside and shoot, that is not going to happen with Chilwell. So I think it also depends on how Badiashile plays when he comes back. So for me, it is in a long term, it's going to be a centre back pairing of Badiashile and Disasi. And I apologize, I was not I did not mention Disasi when I spoke about all the players previously. So just
many people tend to forget about him. Because
he's that good. He's kind of an Azpilicueta. He's kind of an Azpilicueta, because he'll give you a solid 8 on 10, 7 on 10 performance.
He surprised me, to be honest. In the initial few games, he was a bit shaky. But then he surprised me over the past 4 or 5 games. He's been solid. Absolutely solid.
And the thing is, when we got him and we were like, come on, man, another centre back. Now you'll have 6 centre backs. And in the hindsight, if we would not have bought him, we would have absolutely been killed, because we don't have centre backs at the club anymore. Suddenly, after all those
Chalobah's injured.
Chalobah's apparently injured. I don't know if he's injured or
Yeah.
he's been forced out, which is an unfortunate situation. In my opinion, we should not have laid out a red carpet for any player. Every player should have equal opportunity to prove themselves. But that's a conversation for some other time. So yeah, Disasi has been really good. I want to mention him because he's looked solid. Availability is an ability, and he is available all the time. I hope the injury thing that has come up is not very serious and he's available for the Arsenal game. But coming back to the centre back situation, I think Badiashile Disasi will be a long-term centre back pairing, because Badiashile, I still think, is our best centre back who was injured. He looked really solid, and I was a bit disappointed that we could register only 3 players out of the 4 new signings in the Champions League campaign, and we went with Mudryk, Felix, and Enzo. I wanted Badiashile instead of Mudryk in that lineup to be registered, but whatever happened. I think Colville will continue to play as a fullback, and
interesting.
Martson is not a fullback. Cucurella is now an interesting proposition, because he was about to be sold, but he has now impressed Pochettino. That is what I was reading the other day. His professionalism,
and apparently Pochettino did not know anything about Cucurella being sold. He said, I don't know what was going on. That was between his agent and the board. So looks like Pochettino was never aware of Cucurella leaving.
So if I don't know what is happening there, but if we look at Cucurella as a left back, and if we assume Chilwell is going to be fit, then I think there is a possibility that Colville plays alongside Disasi as a centre back. Otherwise, I don't think so. That if Cucurella is sold, for sure, Colville will be turned into a left back for the rest of his career, or till the time Pochettino is in charge.
There seems to be a bit of a mess at the moment in that left back, because you've got Ian Martson,
Ian Maatsen is not a left back.
He's not
a
getting
left back.
considered, but he's, to be honest, like that's what he was.
Ian Maatsen is not being considered at all. Like, even if you listen to the press conferences, not once Pochettino mentions about Maatsen or what his role is, or not even a journalist asks any questions about Maatsen. These journalists ask so ridiculous and redundant questions, man.
Yeah.
Like, if I were a journalist, I would ask, what's your plan with Ian Maatsen?
See, that's why you will not be a journalist. That's why you will not. Because they don't want you to ask those questions. Because those are very tough, difficult questions. You'll be out. He's asking me too many difficult questions. Next time, make sure he doesn't enter the building. Why do you think the same journalists get to enter the building? Because they ask easy questions. As soon as any of them ask hard questions, your pass will be revoked. You will not be allowed in the building. So that's the thing. But just to close off the players section, do you feel, that Ian Maatsen and possibly even Cucurella, like, I mean, there's too many of these Ian Maatsen, Cucurella, Levi Colwell, Ben Chilwell. There's too many of that left-sided player. Surely they can't all coexist.
Yep. That is what I feel. Colwell can move into the centre back position because Fofana is injured all the time. Thiago Silva will move on after this season. Chalobah will be sold. So effectively, you will have only 3 centre backs. Like, chalo, include Fofana also. You'll have 4 centre backs: Fofana, Badiashile, Colwell, and Disasi. I think it's a good depth to have, and it's good competition. It's good competition. Like, you've got a left-right combination in Badiashile and Disasi, and you've got a left-right combination in Colwell and Fofana. And you can play with a 3 at the back. You can invert one of the center backs if you want in Fofana, who can do that job if you want, like what some of the other teams are doing these days. So room for tactical flexibility is a lot of room for flexibility is there. What I feel about the defense line situations is, see, I'm an old school guy. I think our depth is absolutely sorted. You've got 2 proper left backs in Chilwell and Cucurella. You've got 4 centre backs after this season, and you've got 2 right backs in Gusto and Reece James. If you consider Maatsen a forward player,
I think he is getting considered as a forward
and
player.
I personally feel Madueke will go on a loan after this season, or maybe in January, possibly in January, because once Nkunku and Chukwuemeka are fit completely, and
he's not going to get any game time.
will change the whole game. Nkunku will change the whole game, because alongside Sterling, he is our best player. If I were to put our players in a category or in some tier A plus, A, B, C, D, according to their ability. So I think we have got 2 A plus players, Sterling and Nkunku, with Nkunku being a little more consistent over there. So I don't think so Madueke will get a look in. Let alone Madueke, Maatsen will also not get a look in.
As I said, don't forget players like Chukwuemeka coming in, because I think Pochettino really rates Chukwuemeka a lot. He absolutely rates.
Now, if you're playing just with 3
and then
forwards,
you got Cole Palmer.
If you were playing with 4 forwards, like with Nkunku playing as a number 10 and the 2 wingers playing either
side,
say
4-2-3-1, 4-2-3-1, double pivot, Enzo Fernandez and Caicedo.
Yeah. If you're playing with a 4-2-3-1, then it's okay. But if you're playing with a 4-3-3, and which I think will happen because we are winning games with 4-3-3, and managers don't change, especially manager like a Poch, who's very stubborn, who does not change formations easily. So for 3 positions, you've got Sterling, Mudryk, Cole Palmer, Nkunku, Chukwuemeka, Jackson, Broja, Madueke. 8 players for 3 positions.
That's mad.
And Maatsen.
Oh, Maatsen. This is why I keep saying Maatsen. He just won't see time. He's not going to see any time.
9 players, or if I've counted a player twice, I don't know. 8 to 9 players you've got there. All of them who've featured. Now, what I feel is this ownership trying to look at? Obviously, we'll discuss about the ownership also, but are we looking at this as a franchise, not as a football club? Because we need 11 world-class players at all times, irrespective of the injuries, irrespective of the fixture congestion. Like, if we are to accept the reality that half of your main players will stay fit for half of the season, and the other way around. So if that's the reality and we have accepted that, then we are ahead of the game by at least 2 to 3 seasons, because then we'll have an 11 fit players all the time playing in
Yeah.
every condition. So if that's the case, then it's fine. Like, but what happens if all of them are fit at the same time? How are you going to play 9 attackers in 3 positions?
It could happen. Like soon, some of these players are coming back to fitness. There could be a situation where they're all fit. Then what happens? But I know it
And
seems like a
there
very crazy situation. Someone's always going to be injured. Someone's
and
always going to be injured.
and we've forgotten about players like Andre Santos, Cesare Casside, the player of the month in League One, uh,
Angela Gabriel.
Angelo Gabriel. He's our player also. Candy Paez has been killing it with Ecuador.
Yeah.
So what happens to all these players? So I don't know how Poch will manage it, or it is just the same thing as before, that it's a new loan army. We will buy players and we will sell those players for small profits of 5 to 10 million to keep our books in the green. So I think so it's that. But again, when everyone's fit, I don't see Madueke making it past January. Martson, Chaloba, all of these players will leave. Martson will definitely leave, and there will be a lot of outrage once Cole Palmer or Sterling or Mudrik, any of those players have a stinker. And this is what it is with the fan base. If you sell academy products, you shouldn't have got so many players in the first place if you were so looking in forward, like when you have all these players back from loan, because Martson was a player even before he was playing for Burnley. We had
Yeah.
sent him on loan.
Yeah.
You knew that he would come back. So what was your plan for him? What's your plan for him? Imagine if Angelo Gabriel has an absolute killer of a season and he becomes a League One player of the year, of the
Of the
season.
season. Yeah.
Then what you do with him? And
Well,
here and in the Premier League, Cole Palmer, Mudrik, Sterling, all of them have a good season. What you do with all these players?
then the owners are loving it, Baba, because you know what's going to happen? The owners be like, either way, it's win-win. Either we sell Angela Gabriel to PSG for 100 million and we make a lot of money, or he comes to Chelsea and he takes a position, which I would love to see, and then we get to sell one of the other players that has done good for Chelsea for 100 million. You know what I mean? Like, I'm just throwing 100 million out there, but I think that is the scenario that the owner wants. They want everyone to do well so that by the end of the season,
they have assets on their hand.
Yeah, someone is getting sold and we are going to make a lot of money. You know what I mean? I think that is the ideology. Let's talk about Pochettino, Baba. So far, look, I have to admit, there are certain times in the beginning of the season up until the last three. And this is why I said wins are very important. Wins will give you time, buy you time. Wins will give you confidence. If you don't win enough, and if you prolong your losses for too long, it does become a bit of an issue. Now, we can handle one loss, we can handle two losses. But when you go through a phase of not beating West Ham, not beating Aston Villa, not beating Bournemouth, not beating Nottingham, it does become a little bit frustrating, and you can understand why people are saying what people are saying, right? But seems like he's slowly trying to shift this. He's slowly trying to bring some confidence. I think his starting lineups are starting to look better. I think he's utilizing the right players in the right positions as opposed to previously. I don't think he was doing that. The only complaint I'd probably have is I'm not really sure whether he's proactive enough in the match at times. As you mentioned, most recently, Burnley, first half, so poor, so pathetic first half. But I guess the only change, and I think it was because of Armando Broja, not being fully match fit. That's why we were forced to bring in Nicholas Jackson, and overall the second half looked better. My only thing would be I feel like some of his substitutions are not proactive. They seem to be just sort of going with the wind. What would you have to say about Pochettino? Do you feel like the players are buying into his, style of play? Do you feel he's building a good foundation at Chelsea Football Club where, the morale is slowly increasing? Where do you stand with Pochettino at the moment?
I think it'll take time to get these substitutions right. The other way of looking it is that he trusts players to do something who are on the field. Let me give them more time.
Trust them to change the match.
Yeah, trust them to change the match. It won't look good on them if they are having a bad game and player feels that he can do something in the next 5 minutes and he just gets taken off. So it is bad for his morale. So I think that is what is playing on his mind, because we are a very young team. Let's not forget. These kind of decisions might create a long-term effect on the mentality of the players. A player like a Sterling can understand this. A player like Nkunku can understand this, who have a good experience of uh, playing a lot of seasons previously. But player like a Mudryk, who's just coming into a top 5 league, or a Cole Palmer, who is starting out as a starter for a Premier League side. He was not a starter at Man City. Or Nicholas Jackson, who's come from Villarreal to Chelsea. So all of these players, Pochettino trusts them that they are young. Maybe they are rushing it. Let's give them more time, because it won't be very helpful for them if I sub him out. I'm going to sub him out anyways. So let me not do it at the 50th minute or the 60th minute. Let me wait for 10 more minutes, and hence those substitutions are coming at 75th minute. So these things will change with time, and players will also realize that I have to be more effective. I have to be more productive in the minutes that I've been given. And that will create a better competition in the team as well, and that eventually raises the standard of the performances also, because right now we have an amazing squad depth if everyone's fit. As I say, right now I don't think so Madueke even makes the bench if everyone's fit, because you're allowed to have certain number of players only on the bench. So that is where I am with Pochettino making those substitutions. And see, I have to give this season and the next season as well to Pochettino, no matter what happens. And no matter what happens does not mean that we finish again 12th or 13th in the table. No matter what happens is, if we are not able to get Champions League football this season, but we have
to get Europa League. You have to get
you have to get Europa League, and you have to look at the context, that by how many points did you miss out, what were the circumstances in which you missed out, did your key players got injured against towards the end of the season. If all of those things happen to you, then it is understandable. Okay. But if we look at Pochettino, he is very good at developing young players, right? That is why he was brought in this job at the first place. So I trust him to make these decisions. I completely understand, because what you're saying, that he has to be a bit proactive, because we have not seen that urgency from the 11 players that are on the field at times. When we are playing a team like a Forest or an Aston Villa or a Bournemouth, and we think that player from a bench can provide that impact. But again, this team is very new. This team is very young. The chemistry has to be set, because if you keep on chopping and changing the combinations in the team, the chemistry will not develop. And I think he's trying
stability is important. You're right. Stability is very important.
Yeah. So he is still trying to figure out his best 11, and in the different situation that the team gets tested against different oppositions, against different conditions, he'll get to know more about this team and more about the players, that how a player responds. Okay, the score is 1-1 and the team is tired. Mudryk now plays his best game after 70th minute. Let me not sub him out. Let me give him the full 90. Cole Palmer was quiet till now in the first half. Okay, we have conceded a goal out of nowhere. Now the team is pushing towards us. Let me keep him on the field. He will operate between the spaces. Now he becomes a bit more dangerous. So that is what is happening right now. He's trying to find out what his players bring to the team, what is best for the team in different scenarios. And that's how I think he'll get to know his best 11 also. And that's how he'll make better substitutions also going forward.
Yeah, no, I like that. I like that notion that you just said, that maybe sometimes it doesn't help to take off a player at halftime. You know, I've trusted you to start the match. I have a game plan which looks like it hasn't been executed. I still trust you in the second half to execute that game plan. I think you're right. You know, by taking off that player at that point, I think it sends the wrong message. I think as you said, it's a young team. You know, you can really destroy their morale at a very early stage of their career by doing something like that. And we have to be very careful. Look, it is a delicate situation. I mean, I know a lot of people who are listening to this might say, "Oh, look at where Chelsea has gone. You know, what happened to my old Chelsea when we used to have X, Y, Z, all of this." You just have to appreciate where we are at the moment, man. This is
It's not like you're getting on Pedro for Willian, right? Like you know that one experienced player is replacing the other experienced player, and
yeah,
something will happen. Like it's a different thing if you replace Cole Palmer with Madueke.
yeah,
You are
yeah.
not helping the situation there. That is what I feel. The
No,
context
you're right.
changes.
Yeah, you're right. And many people might say, "Oh, but Cole Palmer and Madueke are so much better than Willian and Pedro." You know, from a skill set, from a talent point of
Ah,
view. See, that might be the case. You're thinking from a talent point of view, but from an experience point, you're disregarding the value of Willian and Pedro. Like these guys were extremely experienced players by the time they came to Chelsea Football Club. So you cannot disregard that. You absolutely cannot disregard that. Whereas, you know, someone like Madueke and Cole Palmer, as great as they may be from a talent wise, they've not seen anything in life. Like they literally have not seen anything. So there might be instances where they will not know what to do. They will not know because they've not experienced that. You know what I mean? So no, it's a good point. It's a good point. Baba, in regards to the ownership and the board, let's put them together. Ownership and the board. So far, there's a lot of people that are still a bit unhappy. You know, Chelsea owners, they seem like they're only interested about the money. There's a lot of things that's happening off field in terms of this ownership, this sponsorship, that sponsorship, this marketing thing. Another young kid, there's another young kid, another Brazilian wonder kid. Strasbourg recently, you know, their fans have put out a statement saying they don't like this particular blue co-ownership. They don't want to be run in that manner. What do you feel like? For me, and then you hear things about data analysis. You know, the ownership and the board are very much focused on the data, and they keep saying that data suggests that Chelsea should not be where they are. They should be a lot higher. Me personally, Baba, before I give it to you, I don't know, man. I feel like they've done everything they could in the summer. I know a lot of people will say we didn't get enough experience, but I still feel like we got quite a lot of quality players. I think they've done a lot of things differently from last season to this season. I know a few people will say, but they're still going into the dressing room after every match. Iqbali is still going there. I don't know. I don't think I have too many things to complain about the owners. The board, even recently, I'm starting to see the conversation that Pochettino will be given enough power. Where do you sit with the board and the ownership? Are you disgruntled? Are you happy? Are you neutral?
See, again, the 3 wins have made all those concerns disappear for me. As long as we are winning, none of that matters, to be honest. Might as well Boli and Iqbali go into the dressing room after each game if it means that
go in halftime as well.
go in halftime, hug the players, take selfies with them, eat lunch with them, whatnot, whatever you want to do. But be in the limit of decency. But yeah, do whatever you want. As far as we are winning games on the pitch, as fans, that is the ultimate thing that we need. I couldn't care less if we got a Ryan Cherki or a Mohammad Kudus or a Cole Palmer. If that guy is donning a Chelsea shirt and if he's playing well, if he's giving his 100%, I have absolutely no problem what player you get. You get a Conor Gallagher, or you get a Casemiro, or you get a XYZ player, you get a player from Timbuktu. I don't really care what ownership have in mind. These decisions should work on the pitch, and for them to work on the pitch, you should need to give the reins to the manager, and that is what I feel was not happening in the later stages of the transfer window. I don't think so Cole Palmer was Pochettino's signing, although he has been really well. He's played really well. I don't think so he really wanted Pochettino. Cole Palmer. Pochettino did not want Cole Palmer. Like want. Even if you
I think
would
he
have
wanted more someone experienced
player,
from
yeah.
an age point of view as well.
Yeah. So, like, he wanted a player who could play as an attacking midfielder, as also as a winger. But I don't think so. Cole Palmer was his like pinpoint choice. Okay.
Yeah, I don't think
Cole
so
Palmer,
either.
yeah, ticks all the boxes. So It's a Joe Shield signing, approved by the owners. So now, the earlier thing that you mentioned, Miss, that we've read that Pochettino will be given a bit more
Bit more
say in the
power.
transfers.
Yeah.
Yeah, that is because now the ownership feels that the data thing that you've said, that we are not that bad if we look at the data, and now that we've won a couple of games in the Premier League also, he might be the right guy to actually take this project forward, or to actually work with these youngsters,
Mm.
which I think is too early also. uh, but in an ideal situation, when you've got such a young team, you have to give a lot of benefit of doubt. Forget about the 1 billion that you've spent, forget about all that spending. That does not necessarily mean that you'll win all the games on the field. If
Mm.
you do well in the transfer market, you have to give the utmost authority to manager. You have to listen to him, you have to get him the transfer targets that he
Mm.
needs, and you have not to make any kind of interference in the on-field decision that he makes. If he deems the Madueke that you've got in the January transfer window not fit in his system,
Surplus
or
to surplus to
or
requirements.
surplus to requirements, you move on. You don't ask questions of the manager.
Mm.
And because you've got him to do a certain job, and that is his job, to identify the best playing 11 for your team, for your club, to identify the best 15 to 20 group of players that will take Chelsea Football Club forward. And if a certain player does not, which you like, does not meet the requirements, not necessarily means that the manager is wrong and you are right. So I hope that does not happen in the future.
Mm.
No more mindless signings. I think we all think that in January we thought that we've done the bulk of the heavy lifting, and boom, we get a Cole Palmer, we get a Disasi, we get a
Well,
Nicholas
here's a
Jackson.
question that I want to give to you, right? I think overall what you're saying is makes sense. Like the manager should have a lot of say. But here's the thing: as an owner, imagine you're the owner, right? Not only you have to focus on results, of course, you have to focus on results, that the manager is bringing some good results, but we cannot deviate or disregard the financial side of the game as well. So, for instance, our owners have spent a lot of money. We don't have Champions League football, so there's a revenue stream that's been cut off from us. If, for instance, an offer comes in for a academy player who's a pure profit, let's say, for instance, Conor Gallagher, he's doing really well. Someone comes in, 50 million offer for Conor Gallagher. You as a manager, Pochettino, you're saying, nah, he's a very important player for me. In order for me to get results, he's a very important player. But the owner is also saying, I understand he's a very important player, but you may need to find other solutions within your team. I did buy you Romeo Lavia, this, that, the other. I need this guy sold to balance my books, because at the end of the day, there is a business side of this element as well. Then I feel like there needs to be a collaboration. Where do you see if Pochettino says, no, with hook or crook, I'm not selling him, but the owner is saying, we need to move this guy on because there's a sizable amount of money someone's offering for us. Where do you see that dynamics? How do you think that's going to work out?
And that's a very bad situation to be in, to be honest. Then as a manager, I would say, then don't expect results from me. If you are to sell players on your own, if you're not listening to me what I've got to say about a certain player, or if I want certain players to be in the team, certain players I don't want to be in the team, and if you got a say in that, then don't expect results from me, and eventually the team will fall off. Similarly, what happened with Mourinho and Shevchenko?
Yeah.
Mourinho did not want Shevchenko. Roman Abramovich got Shevchenko, and see what happened. We did not win the title that season. We should have won 3 in a row. There was no excuse not to win a third title. The team got unsettled. Mourinho was forced to play Shevchenko in certain games. He was forced to bench Drogba. Mourinho straight away told Abramovich and the ownership that I've got a world-class striker in Drogba, and he is my starter, and he plays every game for me. There is no need for a Shevchenko. But ownership imposed their own thing on the manager, and see what happened the next season. 2 months into the managership, he was sacked, and that is what eventually happens. See, you've got the ingredients, and you've got a very expensive chef to make you a meal. But if you keep on poking the chef, okay, please add this much salt, please don't add too much spice, okay, this ingredient I'm taking off of you. But the chef would be like, this is very important for me to get the taste right. No, 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 no. This is very expensive and this will help me in my other things. So how will the meal come out? How will the meal taste at the end of it?
So here's the consequent question, and I completely understand. You have to allow the manager to cook up his own meal to taste good.
Yeah. Yep.
But what if the manager has been given the ingredient that he wants, and now the meal has turned out not so tasty? So say, for example, in the next coming window, Pochettino will have more power, and he says, I want X player. X player comes in and is not doing well. And now all of a sudden, Pochettino, for one reason or another, we've seen this with other clubs as well. They fall out, right? The manager brought the player in, and they fall out with the same player. What happens then? Who takes responsibility? Because there has to be some level of accountability, Baba.
Definitely, then the manager will get the sack. No questions asked. You got everything that you wanted. I've not sold Gallagher. Even I've got in Osimhen. If it happens, what's your excuse now? So in that case, I would sympathize with the ownership, and I would appreciate the intent that they have towards the football club.
Yeah.
That their sole motive was to make us competitive and take us from where Abramovich left off.
Yeah.
To compete with the most elite clubs. And the signings are a proof of that. We have not mucked around with the signings. We wanted Caicedo, we got Caicedo. We wanted Enzo, we got Enzo. Disasi is a brilliant signing. We got a striker in Jackson. And some of them are really, like, on the face of it,
Malo Gusto as well. Malo Gusto, very good.
Malo Gusto is a very good backup to Reece James. Might be a very good competition also. So, on the face of it, it might look like a scattergun approach. Whatever you found in the transfer market, you got him. But some of these signings are very intelligent also. Romeo Lavia, very young and a promising DM. And if you develop him, worst case scenario, a team comes knocking on your door, you've got 100 million DM on your hand. Same with Caicedo, same with Enzo. All of these are 20, 21, 22-year-old players. So you've got all the good players. You got even more what you asked for. And I've not sold the players that you wanted to.
Who I wanted to sell.
Yeah. So, there is no excuse for you. You have to deliver. And there are certain standards that have to be met at Chelsea Football Club. Now, if the target is finishing 5th and we finish 6th by a very close margin in the first season, then there is a benefit.
You have some give and take. You have some give and take.
Yeah. You have, but if you finish 10th again, then you're gone, in my opinion. You cannot finish 10th again or 12th again. Or if you're finishing, let's say, out of European position, like the last team who is 7th and you're 8th, and there is a lot of gap between the 7th and the 8th, then that is also not acceptable, in my opinion. And I would not have Conference League. I rather would have Europa League or Champions League, or finish 8th than have Conference League, to be honest, because Conference League is a waste of time, in my opinion.
Yeah, fair enough.
So that's also an interesting situation. So if Pochettino is given all the tools, then we have to ask difficult questions of him.
Is there where you stand to wrap things up? Is that your stance at the moment, that looks like our board, our owners are doing everything possible to give the right ingredients to Pochettino? Once the injured players comes back, there shouldn't be any more talks about injury being an excuse. Do you feel once all of these aligns and they're all set perfectly, that the bare minimum is you do need to make Champions League, and at a absolute worst, maybe Europa League? Anything less than that, do you feel big questions? Whether he gets sacked or not, I don't know. But big questions as to, are you the right guy? Like, I've literally given you everything.
Yeah, definitely. And even if he's the right guy and if he's not able to do it in the first season, but that question will be asked. Because now we have ourselves absolutely reduced our margin of error, because we don't have any excuse that you don't have a DM. You don't have a proper replacement to Reece James. Earlier, what used to happen during the Tuchel time, if Kante is injured, we get folded up and we play Loftus-Cheek and we try and make shift solutions. We don't have a Reece James. We'd again play Loftus-Cheek on the wing back. We go
Yeah.
3 at the back. So that was the situation that we were like, oh, if Kante was there, if Kante had been playing, if Reece James had been playing, we would be in a different team. Look what we did to Juventus with James and Kante when they were playing. Both of them got injured in the same game. And that is why we are not performing well right now. This excuse you don't have now. Now you have to perform because you've got a proper replacement for every position.
Yeah.
If something was to happen to Caicedo, you have a Lavia waiting in the wings.
Yeah.
And he's a
Absolutely.
proper. You've got Oguchuku also, who you got out of nowhere and has been good as a used. He's been an Obi Mikel, if I may say.
Absolutely. Yeah.
So on fullbacks you're sorted. You've got Chilwell, Colwell playing there. Cucurella is an option. Right back you're sorted. Goalkeeper is playing well. Goalkeeper is but see, goalkeeper cannot be an excuse for you. I've not got a world class goalkeeper. Hence, I'm not being able. Sanchez is not a world class keeper, but he's a decent enough keeper that can get you to top 4.
Absolutely.
So I don't think so. Not having a world class striker and a goalkeeper should be an excuse for you to not make top 4, because in other positions you've got some of the very young and exciting players that other clubs wanted to have. So there is no excuse, in my opinion. Definitely.
No, 100%, man. I mean, yeah, look, as you said, maybe top class striker is not an excuse. Some will say maybe that is an excuse, but you look at all the other players that we have, attacking players, goals should be coming from many different areas, not just from the striker position. And now I feel like we have some healthy competition between the strikers, and that should foster some goals too. Baba, thank you so much. This review has been very, very nice during this international break. I think it's given us a lot of perspectives. Ladies and gentlemen, let me know in the comment section what you thought about some of the conversations that we've had. Any other things that you'd like to raise in the comments as well? Let us know if we haven't touched base on it. I'll try my best to comment on it. And if Baba does notice it as well, he'll probably try as well. Baba, any last bits that you want to share? Anything that we can expect from your channel coming up? Any news or anything? Let us know before we close things up.
Yeah, it's just the same stuff. Not much during the international break, unfortunately. But yeah, we will be doing a lot of live streams. Not only Chelsea related, but the other day I was discussing about Manchester United. Bit of Indian football is also coming your way in the international break. So do make sure to check it out. And yeah, man. Can't wait for Chelsea versus Arsenal on the 21st, because that would be a important test for us.
That's going to be a blockbuster. That will be a blockbuster.
And if we were to win that game, oh boy, then
we're winning the league. Then we're winning the league.
Then you cannot stop Chelsea fans from, spreading havoc, wreaking havoc on Twitter, man.
Because that's where it's all going down, right?
That is where it's all going down.
Ladies and gentlemen, that pretty much wraps it all up. Thank you so much for your time. Make sure you subscribe to Baba. I know he does a lot of Indian content, but there is also a lot of English stuff as well. So do subscribe. Any of my subscribers that haven't subscribed to Baba, go and subscribe to him. We're very, very close to 30,000 as well. So let's get to 30,000. I think that'll be a superb milestone. But yeah, we shall catch you guys very, very soon. I'll see if I can line up a few more guests over this international break. And then obviously we'll work towards the heavy fixtures that's going to be coming after that. Hope you guys have enjoyed this. Until next time, everyone. Take care. See ya.